wasn't sure where it was actually heading.
How smoothly is the process working?
Long term, and we're still relatively early into these weeks of home confinement.
There's a lot going on. It sort of breaks you if you can't feel the sun on your face and inhale some fresh air.
And I think it's possible for people to become quite dispirited and demoralised in this circumstance.
But we weren't planning on cancelling. It's only at the moment, with the way things are, we're scared that if it ends...
/education to find out more.
Is this being handled?
But you've got nature strips just full of stuff that people are chucking out.
Rules about being restricted to their homes, and these have inevitable consequences for how individuals feel and function and how their relationships work. And I think it's very important that we learn from people about their experiences so that we can inform recovery efforts when those come about.
I can use a walker, I can use a disability scooter or 2 walking sticks, or I can hold on to the furniture. And that's about the limit of my abilities.
I can go out in my garden and work. I can do projects inside the house. I can call my friends. I can go for a walk in the sunshine. I can still go to the store and get food. You know, I can still talk to my friends. Like I say, you know, this is nothing like being imprisoned or being in war.
They watched their mates being killed. Many of them starved to death, and they came back with profound post-traumatic stress disorder, all of which is valid. But that doesn't mean that people being stranded in their house for months and months on end are going to say, how lucky are we, and have no impact whatsoever. Life in a lockdown.
Might be cloudy tonight and tomorrow.
You're using technology differently because you're so confined to your home.
Video chatting, my use of that has gone up a whole lot. Got myself set up on the dining table and I'm zooming away and look, it was a bit of a steep learning curve at first. I haven't done much online teaching, but actually I feel like I'm settling into a bit of a new routine.
I felt a bit nervous about being close to people.
But he is finding a way to use his time constructively and maintain links with others to the extent that he can.
Look, you're working from home, our productivity hasn't fallen. If nothing else, this stands as a lesson to others, really, that we need to be extraordinarily careful about this for probably the next few months. There is going to be an end to this, and it will all be good in the end. And I know it's difficult when you're in the middle of it to see that, and for many people, as I said, they're going through a very difficult time, but there will be, if you can't see it yet, there will be light at the end of the tunnel.
However, I'm running into a brick wall myself.
Everybody's coping with the crisis in very different ways. Some people are sitting at home and baking. Other people are really struggling with, childcare and balancing work commitments. And just like you were talking about before, a lot of people are struggling to come to terms with their loss of jobs. So it's important, I think, to really keep an eye on the people closest to us. I have a friend whose father is dying and she can't get to him. He's an elderly person, obviously. There is a state lockdown, and she's been told she can't get to him.
Maybe you didn't really get to know your neighbour, or maybe you weren't catching up with your grandparents or your parents as often as you should have been. And it's been a real reminder, hasn't it, just the important role that older citizens play in our lives.
And that can never be recaptured. You can't care for your father in the final years of his life. You can't perhaps be present at his funeral. These are things that have a very profound impact.
We're so wired to hold somebody's hand, to hold them, to touch them on the shoulder if they're upset.
You'll be pleased to know, and I continue to shake hands, and I think it's very important that we, people obviously can make up their own mind.
Yeah, well, he did, and now he's been admitted to hospital.
And they were very, very careful, and as we walked out, they offered us
the sanitizer for your hands and everything, and yet we hardly touched anything at all.
In the longer term, so new cultural behaviours, new ways that we relate, we may start to privilege the importance of touch.
A bit of a shock, really, because you weren't expecting it to be sort of in your face.
I had a terrible time getting through, but when I finally got through, I was speaking to. I think that the shutdowns are extremely exaggerated.
I mean, this is something that's never happened before in even 100 years. It's one of those situations where I think probably the cost is worth the price. I mean, if it helps to stop people dying and
There's a huge range of opinions on that. Some people say go further, some people say gone too far. Now, in my notes here, you had a TV recommendation for everyone.
Oh yes, sorry.
Here, people have been spitting at nurses and refusing to serve them coffee at places. I just felt, I don't know whether to cry or to be angry. I just felt just so sorry for them. They're the frontline soldiers in this war, and people can be treating them like that. I was just staggered.
There's so much about it that we don't know.
But they did say, look, in the case of an emergency, if the hospitals require this and it's life-threatening, they would send me the file.
Hang on a sec, I'll take it off speaker.
That's a great idea.
Can you hear me better now?
I can.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I'm talking to you who are still employed, listening to the lady who is still employed working from home. But for those of us who are not getting any work and won't get any work until this crisis until the restrictions are eased, then why wouldn't you do this?
it's like the idea that you have to give up a certain amount of freedom to have the safety to get back another set of freedom. It's like, that's not more freedom.
I think this is a very frank truth that we don't really have a choice about this.
Plus, the secret to understanding your child's behaviour.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of us, we would be very hesitant.
Again, another really, really important part. I think one of the things that we've seen coming out or coming into this.
Just being able to see those different behaviours is giving people a glimpse of.
We've seen what people have done already in a crisis situation, their ability to adapt their processes to produce what we need.
There has been lots of big decisions made relatively quickly.
In these extremely abnormal circumstances, you see behaviours you can't comprehend.
That makes no sense at all.
This will be over.
We're going to really focus on our space.
In kind of what seems like ridiculous scenarios.
A lot of those changes don't stay sticky for very long though, do they?
Safety net for dealing with crisis. So
this is an activity that goes on behind the scenes every day of the week.